What is up, my little ratties? Today we are not going to be playing Dress to Impress. Today we are going to be doing a custom makeup and hair tutorial or guide, I guess. I don't know. So a few months ago I did release a custom makeup tutorial, but since then I obviously have more faces and things, and we now also have the ability to save hair combos, so I thought it would be cool to go over some of those with you guys as well. I will try to include timestamps in the caption for you, so you can skip around to exactly what you want to see. My specialty in custom makeup, or at least what I would consider my specialty, is human faces. So I will be showing a few non-human faces, but I'm honestly just not super confident in them, so we're not going to make that like a whole big thing. But I'm going to start this video off on just a general guide to custom makeup and how you use it if you are new to it, and then I'll go over some custom makeup tutorials with you all for some of my most sought after faces, and then after that we'll go over some hair combo tips and tricks, and then we will end it off with some hair combo tutorials as well. Let's just get right into it. So when you first load up into Dress to Impress, you will be gray, all the way gray, and the first step that you want to do is going into the skin tone booth and obviously picking your skin tone. But once you do that, you will go up to one of these makeup chairs. Now this is the one in Lana's apartment, so you won't be here probably, but just go up to any makeup chair and then you will have this blank face. I also have lashes on, so let me just take those off super fast. And then the first step that you're going to do is your eyes. I freaking love all of these new eyes. I think that they're so gorgeous. We're just gonna use these specific eyes for the beginning, and we'll just make those like blue. Now when you hit these little arrows, it will flip through all of the like toggles, and then here is the shading here, which changes the shading around the eyes. So if you're using like a darker skinned model, you can darken the shading to reflect that, otherwise you will have like a weird cast here. Since my model is fair skinned though, I don't really have to tweak any of that. We also have an eyeliner toggle specifically on these eyes. Usually I just make them black, but you can do whatever you want. You can make them blue or green or whatever your heart desires. And then we also have the eyelid section as well at the bottom, which again I think is mostly for if you have like a darker skinned model. There are lots of beautiful eyes here. Personally, I love either the like smaller siren eyes like these. I think these are all super gorgeous, but I also love the like huge doe eyes like these ones. I think that these are all so cute. I think it's kind of hard to go wrong with eyes. Really, the only ones that I personally stick away from are the ones that are maybe a little bit too far apart, a little bit too high up to look more realistic, I guess. This is also a personal choice, but I don't love the art style of like these eyes. They just feel more flat than the other ones, so usually I don't use those either, but obviously there is use cases for them, especially if that's just your style. This is just my tips on how I play Dress to Impress, and if you like these things, I do not want you to change your style just to kind of fit my idea, because obviously we all are super unique, and that's what makes this game fun. If everybody dressed the same, it would be super boring, I think. But anyways, I'm just going to keep these eyes, and then for eyebrows, guys, I kind of suck at eyebrows, so honestly I don't really have any tips here. Just pick normal looking ones. I don't know. All of the eyebrows I tend to use are just like straight across. I guess that's what I like. I don't like a super high brow or a super low brow or a super arched brow. I just like to keep things simple. Now for lips, I am a little bit more picky, but we do have a lot more options recently. These lips are super cute. They kind of give that like Korean gradient effect, which I think is super cute. And then we also have this as well. This will adjust the opacity for certain features like the gloss. If you don't like the gloss, you can take it off or lessen it, which I think is really cool. Now obviously not all lips have that, but a decent amount do, I would say. I really like these lips as well. Now the only recommendation I really have is to put your nose on before you do your lips, because this can change a lot. So depending on your nose, the lips might be too high or too low. For example, these lips are super cute, but I personally would not use them with this nose because I just think that they maybe are a little bit too close together and it looks a little bit off. Obviously you can do that if you like the look, but I personally am going to skip out on it. These lips honestly fit pretty perfectly though, so I'm gonna leave those, and then we're gonna switch over to this section here and we can put on one of our face details. I almost always use this one. There is sometimes for like darker aesthetics I'll use this one as well and then just make it like my skin tone like this, but most of the time I'm sticking with this one. She is my old reliable. A tip though, if you are using like a super pale skinned model, you might have to make it a little bit more on the blue side because it is naturally just a little bit more warmer. So just make sure you're looking out for that to make sure things don't look too crazy. Now for the last section, we already added a nose, so you don't have to worry about that. But I would also add maybe just some blush. I don't usually get too crazy with the blush. I think that this one is cute since it has like a little nose blush. I don't know, I think that's pretty adorable. But my go-to blush for this one as well is this blush. These two combined together also do look pretty cute, I would say. I also always add some sort of moles or freckles to my faces. They just bring so much life to it and make things really look alive, I think. For eyeshadows, you can get super creative, especially with this update because they added so many where you can do so much with them. And then obviously you can also adjust opacities and stuff. So let's say I use this eyeshadow, but I only wanted this liner here. I could just adjust the opacity here and it would be freaking gone. Isn't that so cool? They're all just so customizable, so you can get super creative with your faces. I especially love this one for like a brighter under eye. I don't know, you guys, I think that is so cool to be able to do. I haven't personally experimented with all of these things too much, but the fact that it's an option is crazy. If you spend a lot of time in the custom makeup chair, you will be blessed by the end. In the other section, we do also have some like classic eyeliners. Like this one, for example, this one is always my go-to. It's a very simple eyeliner. Unfortunately, at the time of recording this at least, we still only have 6 custom makeup features that we can use at a time, which is so sad. I am begging and pleading for that number to get updated to reflect how much custom makeup things we have now. But regardless, here is your first Miesha face. I think that it actually is pretty cute. I didn't plan this one out actually. I just kind of started throwing things on. I don't know if any of these things are toy codes though. Hopefully not. Oh my gosh, wait. Okay, it doesn't look like it. I think we're in the clear, you guys. That had me freaking stressed out for a minute, but it's fine. I love that now they have this option here for toy codes. If you guys didn't know, Dress to Impress does sell DLC dolls. So there are mystery dolls and there are also like bigger full-size dolls. And with the purchase of all of these, you get DLC codes, which majority of the time have a little face in them, which includes all of the custom makeup assets as well. They are super cool, but obviously a little bit more on the expensive side and not everybody can afford them. A lot of my faces do include DLC codes, but when we go into the tutorial part, I will be including alternatives. Obviously, you can replace these with whatever you want, but there are some specifically that I recommend as well to make it just a little bit easier for yourself. Here is the first face that I'm going to be showing you how to recreate. Unfortunately, we did have to leave Lana's apartment because I have to show you the skin tones and stuff. I love it in there, but she just doesn't work out for this, unfortunately. This is the skin tone that you're going to be using for this specific face. These are the eyes that you're going to use, and you'll make the first toggle this color. You're going to want to use these eyebrows and you'll make them this color. You'll use this DLC code and make it this color. I think that these lips are also a good alternative, or these ones right here. You're going to want to use this highlight and make it this color. You'll add this blush here. You'll also add this nose. Then you'll add this DLC eyeshadow. If you don't have this eyeshadow, basically any little shimmery eyeshadow could do. It honestly doesn't add that much. So if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. And then you'll add these freckles and these moles, and then go into this masculine section here and add these freckles as well. And there you go, you have your, I guess, second Miesha face. This one is one of my personal favorites, and I think that it still looks just as beautiful if you use some of those replacements that I was talking about. So I would not say that the DLC makes this face at all. This is the next face that I'm going to show you how to make. The skin hex code is the exact same as the previous one. You're going to want to use these eyes and make the first toggle this hex code. Make the eyeliner this hex code, and the last toggle this hex code. Then you'll add these eyebrows and make them this hex code. You're also going to want to use this highlight and make it this hex code. Then you'll add this eyeshadow and make it this hex code. With these moles, add this DLC nose and make it this color. If you don't have the DLC nose, I would recommend this one instead. I think that they both have super similar shapes. Then add these lips and make them this hex code. And there you go, you have your third Miesha face. This one is a little bit on the simpler side, so feel free to add any eyeshadow or anything. You have lots of extra slots. This is just a good base, and it's pretty easy to edit like mid-round if you need to add a little bit more. This is the next face I'm going to show you how to recreate. This is the skin tone you're going to want to use. You're going to add these eyes once again and make them this hex code. You'll make the shading this hex code, the eyeliner this hex code, and the fourth toggle this hex code. Then you'll add these eyebrows and make them this hex code. You'll add these lips and make them this hex code. Then you'll add this highlight and make it this hex code. You'll also add this highlight and make that this hex code. With this blush and make it this hex code. Add these moles and these freckles. Add this eyeshadow and make it this hex code. Then add this nose and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code. You'll also want to adjust the opacity to 58%. And there you go, you have your fourth Miesha face. This one is one of my favorites. I just am obsessed with these eyes. Obviously, I use them quite a lot, but I think that they're so pretty. And I think that this face itself is just super gorgeous. This is the next face I'm going to show you how to recreate. You're going to want to use this skin hex code. You'll add these eyes and make them this hex code. You'll also make the shading this hex code. Then you'll add these eyebrows and make them this hex code. You're going to want to add these DLC lips and make them this hex code. I think that these lips are a great alternative if you don't have the DLC code. I also really like these ones and these ones here, but they do have a slightly different vibe, so do with that what you will. You're also going to want to use this highlight and make it this hex code. Then you'll add this blush and make it this hex code and lower the opacity to 67%. You'll add this eyeshadow and make it this hex code and lower the opacity to 53%. Then you'll add this DLC nose and make it this hex code. If you don't have the DLC nose, I would recommend this nose here and then adjusting the opacity of the second toggle to 53%. I think that this is a pretty good dupe for that nose. You'll want to add these freckles here and these freckles as well. Then add this eyeshadow and make the first toggle this color and lower the opacity to 63%. Then make the second toggle this color and the third toggle this color. And there you go, you have your, I think, fifth Miesha face. I don't remember what number we're on, but this is another one of my all-time favorites. It is super similar to this face, obviously. A lot of the times I will have very similar faces just with like different skin tones, so I can be a little bit more diverse with my outfits, I guess. This is the last human face that I'm going to be showing you how to recreate. You're going to want to use this skin hex code, then add these eyes and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code. You're also going to want to add these eyebrows and make them this hex code. Then you're going to want to go into the masculine section and add these lips and make them this hex code. Then we're going to go back into the feminine section and add this highlight and make it this hex code. You're going to want to go back into the masculine section, add these eye bags and add these dimple piercings and make them this hex code. Then we're going to go back into the feminine section. We'll add these piercings and make them this hex code and these moles. We'll also add this DLC eyeliner and make that this hex code. This can basically be replaced with any eyeliner of your choosing. We're going to use this DLC nose and make that this hex code. If you don't have the DLC code, I would recommend this one as a replacement. And there you go, you have your last human Miesha face. I think that all of these are super cool and very moldable for like a lot of themes. I usually tend to keep my faces pretty simple. This is like the most intricate my faces get. I usually don't really add a lot to them. I like the more simplistic look, so you can always add more if that's kind of more your thing. This is the first non-human face I'm going to show you how to recreate. You're going to want to use this skin hex code. You'll use these eyes and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code and the third toggle this hex code. We're gonna skip the eyebrows on this one and then we'll add these lips and make them this hex code. We'll add this highlight and make that this hex code. We're gonna add this eyeshadow and make the first opacity 0% and then the second toggle can be this color and the third toggle can be this color. Then we're gonna add this nose and make it this hex code. We'll also add this and make that this hex code. We'll also add this eyeshadow and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code. Then you're gonna want to add this DLC makeup and make it this hex code. Honestly, I'm not sure of a great alternative for that one. I'm sorry. If anybody in the comments has any ideas, feel free to share it with others, but I don't really know of anything in the free section that looks anything like this. You're also going to want to add this face detail and make that this hex code. And there you go, you have your first non-human Miesha face. This is one of my favorite ones. I will often recolor it for other themes as well because I just love it so much. This is the second and also final non-human face I'm going to be showing you how to recreate. You're going to want to use this skin hex code. You're going to want to use these DLC eyes and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code and lower the opacity to 84%. Then you'll make the third toggle this hex code and the fourth toggle this hex code. I think that these eyes are a great alternative for the DLC eyes. If you don't have them, I would just maybe change some of the colors around a little bit. We're going to skip out on the eyebrows for this one as well. Then you're going to want to add these lips and make them this hex code with this highlight and make that this hex code. Then you're going to want to add this DLC eyeshadow and make that this hex code with this DLC eyeshadow as well and make that this hex code. If you don't have the DLC eyeshadows, I recommend this eyeshadow and make the first toggle this hex code and the second toggle this hex code, and then this eyeshadow and make the first toggle this hex code, the second toggle this hex code, and the third toggle this hex code. I think that it has pretty similar vibes. Obviously it's not spot on, but I did try my best. Again, if anybody has any what they deem to be better recommendations than what I said, please let us know, okay? I don't care as long as you guys are satisfied with your faces. You're gonna want to add this nose and make that this hex code. Then you'll add these freckles and these freckles as well. Then you're gonna want to add these eye bags and make them this hex code. And there you go, you have your second and last non-human Miesha face. I think that this one is super good for like zombie themes, especially if you like adjust the eyeshadow a little bit to have like some red in it. I don't know, I think it's cool. Now if you have any issues with any of these faces, make sure that when you're adding them in the exact order that I tell you to, because the layering does matter quite a lot. For example, let's say I move this on top of the other one, obviously it does change the look a little bit, which isn't what we want, and that could be more detrimental depending on the theme. So just make sure that your layers are okay, and if you do mess up, you can just drag and drop these around. I'm pretty sure it's also the same on mobile, so don't be too worried about it if you have done something wrong. It's not hard to fix or anything. Now we are going to be moving on to the hair combo section of this video. I don't really have much to say in like guide form besides get familiar with all of these hairs in free play as much as you possibly can, because if you're trying to make your own hair combos, it's really important to know all of the different toggles of different hairs. Like for example, this one, I know that I love the only bangs toggle on this specific hair because I have looked at it and I have used it and I know that it has this toggle, which means I can also use it in like different hair combos and stuff and use it in different ways, and it's just super useful to just get yourself familiar with everything in Dress to Impress. There are so many different toggles and everything, and it's very easy to be overwhelmed. So that's just my recommendation if you are trying to make your own. But I'm going to show you how to make a few of my favorite saved hair combos. For this hair combo, we're just going to make everything black. So first we're going to use this hair, and then we're going to toggle that to only bangs and the third toggle here. We're also going to set the Y position to 0.52, so it's a little bit higher up here. We're also going to add this hair here, and we'll toggle that to only bangs. And we don't have any adjustments to make for this one. We can leave it how it is. Then we're going to go to the masculine section and add this ponytail here. Again, we're keeping all of the adjustments default and no toggles or anything for this one. Then we're going to add this short hair. We're going to change the Z position to 0.57 and the X rotate position to 0.57 and then scale it to 0.56. We're also going to add this short hair and we'll change the Z position to 0.60 and everything else can stay the same. And there you go, you have your first Miesha hair combo. This one is super pretty. I think it looks so cute with specifically alternative looks, but I think it also looks pretty with like a softer aesthetic as well. I've been trying to get better at like shorter hairstyles, but guys, they're so freaking hard. This is the next hair combo that I'm going to show you how to recreate. And the hair color for this combo is this one if you wanted to recreate mine specifically. First, you're going to want to use this hair and toggle that to only bangs, and you'll scale it to 0.46. You're also going to want to use this hair and you'll toggle that to animated and then change the Y position to 0.47 and the Z position to 0.57 and then rotate the X to 0.48. You'll also add this hair here and you won't make any adjustments to anything here. And the hair color for this combo is this one if you wanted to recreate mine specifically. And there you go, you have your second Miesha hair combo. This one is obviously very simple, so feel free to change anything, and that applies to all of my hair combos, of course, or any of my faces or anything. You do not have to keep them how they are. I would not be offended if you tweaked things a little bit. This is the next hair combo that I'm going to show you how to recreate. And then for this hair combo, we're going to use this hex code here. First, you're going to want to use this hair and and toggle that to only bangs. Then you're going to want to add this hair and toggle that to no bangs. You'll change the Y position to 0.48 and the Z position to 0.51, and then the X rotate position to 0.51 and scale that to 0.41. Then you're going to want to add this hair, change the X position to 0.52 and the Z position to 0.52 as well, and then the rotate Y to 0.54 and the rotate Z to 0.48, and then scale that to 0.39. You're also going to want to add this hair and toggle that to no bangs. You're not going to make any adjustments on this hair. You're also going to want to add this hair and change the X rotate position to 0.51, the Y rotate position to 0.53, and scale that to 0.42. You're also going to want to add these. And there you go. You have your next Miesha hair combo. This one is so cute, especially for like office siren and like fancy themes. I love this hair combo. This is the next hair combo that I'm going to show you how to recreate. You're going to want to add these pigtails, toggle those to only bangs, and use this hex code for the hair. You're not going to make any adjustments to this one. You'll also add this hair and toggle that to only bangs. You're also going to want to add this hair and toggle that to no bangs. You also won't make any adjustments to this one. Then you'll add this hair here and change the Y position to 0.46 and the Z position to 0.61. Then you're going to want to move over to the dressing room and add this advent calendar hair. If you don't have this one, I'm not really sure what you can replace it with. I'm so sorry. But you're going to toggle that to animated slight wind and then change the Y position to 0.23 and the Z position to 0.57. Then change the X rotate position to 0.54 and scale that to 0.56. And there you go, you have your last Miesha hair combo. All right, you guys, that was all we had time for today. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Now, I do also have some individual hair and makeup tutorials posted on my account. So if you wanted more from me, make sure you check out my playlist, okay? Because there are lots of options for you. You can also check the description for a link to my most used hex codes, which does include skin colors as well, because I do use some other ones that weren't quite listed here. And then you also would have access to this color palette here, which is super easy to just copy and paste from. It obviously still would take time, but if you don't feel like doing it yourself, that is a great alternative. But if you like today's video, make sure to leave a like, maybe comment, maybe subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.